All right, everybody help me welcome Rocky Miller. Rocky, I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm going to mute myself. I might interject questions and what have you, but please introduce yourself to the audience, and of course, and introduce DBN, talk about what it is, and then when you want me to advance the slides, I'll just do the little click thing if that works for
Yep,
you.
that works fine. Well, thank you, Jenny. Guys, I want to tell you, I'm really excited to be here right now. I appreciate, Jenny inviting me on, and like I said, being able to be a part of your community and your network. I've been able to learn a lot about IAHSP, and Jenny's kind of giving me a background on just, some of the areas that you guys, focus on to continue to build and grow your business. So before I start, I've got some value points I'm going to share with you today, but just to give you a little bit of an introduction on myself, my company, as you've seen on the slide, is Dream Big Network. I am the CEO and founder of Dream Big Network. We are a true startup. We started up here in the Denver area in 2018 officially. And we started off originally with the idea and the focus to develop business and professional development content for the local communities that I served when I was in nonprofit. And we kind of osmosed from there. After our first year launching, we ended up repackaging based off of the initial customers that we had, and really kind of, I guess you could say, coming into some of the keywords I'll share with you today, we innovated into kind of a hybrid marketing and business development company. So we support our clients here locally, and now we're starting to move out of state as well. We have that capacity to serve them in a number of ways, everything from business development, sales and marketing, media content, which is some of the stuff that we're going to kind of focus on today, just brand development. You name it, operations and HR. We're helping clients with scaling, their operations and their overall, HR systems. So we serve in a number of ways with Dream Big Network, and I'll share a little bit more about us in terms of our purpose near the end. So to go over our presentation outline today, again, coming back to some of the things that Jenny mentioned to me, she told me that you guys look for a lot of different resources and tools that you can leverage yourself personally to take your brands to that next level. So, I wanted to start off today focusing on a couple terms that are actually tied into your event this year, which are branding and innovation. So I want to talk about branding and innovation in 2024 and what that looks like, right? Some of the trends that we're seeing in the marketing community. These are kind of hot. Some of them are hot topics, right? Hot button topics. But I think that a lot of the average business owners still don't really understand exactly what some of these trends are. So I'm going to give you guys 5 keys that you can take today to take your branding and your innovation to the next level. And some of you may be familiar with some of these things, but maybe you haven't really honed in on them. So maybe this will be reaffirmation, right, or reconfirmation for some of you. And some of you might not be familiar with some of these things at all. So this will be a great introduction for you guys to learn more about some of these tools, right? So, and then what I'll do as we kind of wrap up the presentation today, I also have some resources that I'm going to share with you guys so that you guys can use. These are some of the tools that my company uses currently, and we're seeing a ton of success for the clients that we're servicing. And then I'll share some of my information on DBN's contact and our support as well before we wrap up. So I think we can go to okay, there we go. Got it. Thank you, Jenny. So IAHSP key terms 2024. I wanted to share. I think that you guys have quite a few here. So you have branding, upscaling, innovation, luxury, and diversification, right? So, I wanted to focus on a couple of these key terms that I mentioned earlier that my company, this is a huge area of focus for us and what we serve with our clients, right? Which is branding and innovation. So I'm going to take a couple of these keywords here for you guys today. And I wanted to just, I know there are a lot of definitions out there for both of these key, these words, but I picked the definitions that I really felt, I think, hit the nail on the head. And so when you take the idea of branding, right, the initial kind of definition that I picked was any other feature that distinguishes, one seller's good or service from those of other sellers, right? And then innovation is a process by which a domain, a product, or a service is renewed and brought up to date by applying new processes and introducing new techniques. And so coming back to it, I've got in my notes here a couple things I wanted to kind of hit on with you guys. Was first off, when we talk about the branding aspect, it's about distinguishing yourself, right? So you guys are looking for keys, especially in your markets, right? Whether you're state to state, whatever state you're in, you're looking for differentiating factors that will distinguish your brand and create your own unique twist on it from other companies in the marketplace. And that's where some of these tools will help you today to scale and take that to the next level, right? Which leads me to innovation. You know, everybody should have the mindset as a business owner to be innovative. And I think that's where some people get lost as well, because they don't know what innovation looks like. They don't know how to do it. And it's sometimes not as complicated as we make it out to be. But when I think about innovation, right, I think about new processes and new techniques, right? So some of these tools will help you implement new processes to how you're doing your business, and in particular, how you're marketing your business. And then it also give you some new techniques as well through some of the tools, right? So I just wanted to make sure I hit on those for you guys.
And I wanted to just share on the innovation. I look at it also as like platforms or apps that have come out, and how, you know, they're innovative. They help you do something different, make things look different, like the whole AI, that's, you know, innovative. And so how do we use these new platforms that are coming out and plug in? So the innovation,
Absolutely.
You don't want to be sitting back and getting stale and then people pass you up. So
that's exactly right. Yes, that's a good point. And so that's kind of to Jenny's point, right? So that's where we're going to talk about some of these areas, right, that help you not to be stale, help you to really refresh what you're doing. These are some specific areas that I just kind of think that we've been focusing on with a lot of our clients. You know, DBN, when we say, you know, our focus is with, you know, with branding for clients, we use this key term a lot, which is digital portfolio, right? So we're coining this a lot. It's starting to become more popular, but, you know, your digital portfolio is all of your digital online footprints, right, that you're leaving, right, through kind of to Jenny's point, whether it's your social media, or whether it's your website, or if it's apps that you're using, you know, LinkedIn profiles, right? That's all a part of your quote unquote digital portfolio, your digital resume. And some of these tools or these keys that we're going to talk about will help you make sure that these tools are sharp, right, and that those footprints are on point. So we're going to talk a little bit about logo introductions today, right? What those look like, stock photos and templates. We're also going to talk about stock video, and then kind of to what Jenny mentioned earlier is AI support and converting that into content and what that looks like. So, you know, coming back to it, you know, I want to hit on some of these areas for you guys and just really talk about some of the trends that we're seeing in the marketplace and how these things are going to be an asset to you, because I guarantee you that these are the things that a lot of smaller market and larger companies are focusing on. It's easier for bigger companies, obviously, because they have the wherewithal, but it's amazing how much these tools have leveled the playing field for smaller businesses like yourselves, where you can get things that would essentially look like it would cost thousands of dollars, you know, at the fraction of the price of what it would cost for just a monthly membership, right? So when we talk about, let's see, what is our first one here? Enhancing the logo itself, right? So when you look at the logo introductions, you can't see it on here per se, but I've got a screenshot of one of the logo introductions that we did for our company. And, you know, we're going into these websites, and you can literally, it's so easy where you can literally, you know, take your logo profile, you click it into the website or into the actual template, right? And it'll create these amazing logo intros for your brand, right? And so kind of a few of those, the points to these, right, is the logo itself, it enhances it. So, you know, when you're leveraging this and you're using these tools, just as simple, I know it seems just as simple as a logo intro, but when you think about you're creating content, some people might have a pretty simplistic logo, So think about if you can load something, you can load your logo into something, into a tool, and it can literally change the whole blueprint of what your logo looks like. It allows you to kind of enhance your overall look of your logo itself. It allows you to be creative with your intros, right? Some other points here that I wanted to stress for you guys: you can do a lot of different things here with your holiday or seasonal themes, right? So, I mean, think about if it's Thanksgiving or it's Christmas, or the 4th of July, any of these different things. These are things that allow you to get more creative with your branding and with your marketing, and put a professional twist on them. And you can tie them. And I can guarantee you, pretty much for almost any season or holiday that you can think of, you can find different types of logo intros that you can put your profiles into, and it'll give you something amazing that you can then put out onto your social media feed and onto your websites as well too. So then also the nature changes the nature of the intro, and it allows you to differentiate your brand, right? So, one of the things too, if you want to, let's say you just want to create a logo profile that is kind of going to be your signature, right? You can go and do that. So that way, now every time someone sees your business, they see this intro, it rings a bell for them, right? So you can create signature intros for your company or for your brand, and that separates you in the marketplace as well too, right? I mean, if you think about it, I always like to use movie intros as an example. If you think about Lionsgate or Disney, or I mean DreamWorks, right? You always think about those intros that they have. It's signature,
Like
right?
Bad Robot.
Yes.
A Bad Robot little thing.
Robot.
So does your company create these for people? Because I have created intros and fool around with that. So first of all, those of you that are watching, they're not free. You have to sign up for the subscription. You have, there's like a bazillion options. So you're like weeding through. It's like a time sucker to try to figure out which one's going to be best for your brand. And then you have to like use the technology and put things in and the wording. And, if you don't do it right, then, if it doesn't buffer right, it's just a pain in the butt. And so if the company can help you with that, and under an umbrella of something like the Dream Big Network, excuse me, it's definitely worth it. So I'm not sure this is part of your presentation, but being able to kind of quantify, if people are like, oh, I can do that on my own. Really? Do you want to be taking all that time to do it on your own? Because there's a company, this is what they specialize in. So as take it from somebody who has done it, I'm capable, but time, I don't always have time to do it. And it's like, time slips away and all these cool ideas and I don't implement. So keep that in mind as he's going through the content.
Yeah, thank you for interjecting on that, Jenny. That's a good point. And yes, to answer your question, I mean, these are the areas that we're helping our clients with, because for a lot of them, a lot of the smaller businesses that we work with are mom and pop shops, right? And so these are business owners where some of them, I mean, it's funny because we're getting in with them, and I mean, they're just, their websites alone look like it was like straight out. I mean, it's like about a decade and a half old, it's prehistoric, and so when they're looking at all these new concepts, this is like foreign to them. And it's amazing to me also, Jenny, to your point, how much technology has even shifted just within the last decade. So for a lot of us, and kind of to the point of what you're saying, a lot of our businesses, we're not understanding how much that shift has transitioned, where, a lot of people are still posting stationary, right? Like these, just the images and the wording with it. And you should still do those things. I'm not going to tell you that those aren't important, but being able to create a balance and a blend of different types of content pieces, including video, and especially with the technology that we have, if you want to learn it, it's not that complicated. But to your point, sometimes it can be time consuming for business owners. And so companies like myself, that is where we try to help clients to, save their time essentially, and give them high quality professional content. So those are logo introductions. And next we are going to talk about, what do we have here? I think we have stock videos.
Stock photos. Yeah.
Yes. Or stock photos. Yes. So stock photos, all of these are actually my favorite. I love every single one of these in their own way. I love stock photos, and I wanted to hit on these specifically today. I'm sure that some of you may be familiar with stock photos, but I think that one of the questions that you might want to ask is, how are you utilizing them, right? And for me, I always look at there's lots of different ways to leverage them, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in some of our other slides when we get to it. But stock photos are important, to your marketing and to your brand messaging. If you see these 3 pictures that I actually have on the slide deck, the first 2, so the center one and the one on the left, you see the executives in the office. Those were actually AI generated, and so it's amazing to me, even when you're going into these templates, that it will give you can be so specific. And I probably should be saving this for my AI slide, but since I'm kind of talking about it anyways, you can go in and you can actually be as descriptive as you want. So these particular AI photos that I did that are stock photos, I typed in on the AI automation, I want a picture of a diverse group of professionals in a high-rise building in an office. And it literally just gave me lots of different examples, right? And so you can do this for your business, home staging, right? Thinking about, your teams, events or things like that. Like, you can come up with any types of topics that you want. And you can leverage these particular just stock photos to create content out of that and add that in. And I also recommend adding that in with your regular pictures, right? So that photo on the right, that's actually a picture of, some of my B-roll, a picture of some of my early team for DBN. So that's a real picture. But I'll blend these, right? You can blend some of your stock photos with some of your real photos. And I'll also talk a little bit about what that looks like when you're doing templates. Templates is a little bit of a different topic, but coming back to my specific points for this, right? It's a way to add volume to your media, right? So it gives you that consistency. It gives you that volume on a week-to-week basis of continuing to have lots of different types of posts. It also leverages, if you're a new business, right? And you're a new home staging business, and maybe you haven't built the portfolio and you don't want to go and, ask Jenny to send you some of her world-class photos of some of the stages that she's done, right? Then you might want to start with, maybe you can, of course, it's more about the image for your business, but you can get stock photos of houses and living rooms or whatever it is, right? And tie that into maybe some of the messaging that you're looking to do. So it gives you that opportunity to leverage, content if you don't have it until you start going out. Maybe you get a professional photographer and you're getting more stage photos and things like that. You can mix those things in. And then it allows you, kind of like I mentioned earlier, it allows you the opportunity to customize your messaging. So that's kind of the value of stock photos.
And I'll say for the staging industry, so let's say, because again, everybody has to start somewhere, and there is like some courses like our classes that we teach, we provide photos for people to use. And the preface is like I said, these are before and after examples of vacant staging or mixed media or what have you. And I didn't try to pass them off as my own. I said, I can do these for you too. So by the way, nobody ever asked me, is this your picture? But if they do, I would say, this is just an example of what I can do for you. I actually use my own house in the beginning too. So just be really careful that you're not taking pictures that are belong to somebody else and then using them, as your own, or even videos there, because that's whenever there's always a negative thing between colleagues, it seems to always revolve around the use of pictures. And but the stock photos are great. Again, they're not cheap. You're going to get to the video thing too. Those are like, I think the videos, $170 a month for a subscription, and you only get 5 downloads. So, yeah. I mean, it's very expensive. So a company that has a lot of these that can provide that for you, or at least weed through the content so that you're not wasting money downloading things that you're never going to use, is really valuable.
Absolutely. Yep. And that's what my company, we've gotten onto a lot of different websites, and we're continuing to build lots of different memberships with different websites, because to your point, and I recommend this too, Jenny, to your point, like, you can start off with a free membership for some of these websites, and it will give you some pretty decent, portfolio pieces that you can use. And then obviously, when you pay into a membership, then you can get more. It gives you a larger, catalog of resources that you can leverage. And in some cases, it's worth it, right? If you want to do it yourself, and you're okay with you look at it as putting that as a part of your marketing budget, right? Because I always like to talk about ROI, and I kind of made a note of this. For a lot of us, we think about what our ROI is on investing in these things, and for you guys, especially in your industry, you think about it, it's about increasing your impressions, right? With your views and your social media, right? And then from there, it's then increasing your engagement, right? And then finally, that is what we kind of tie into the overall ROI value, which is the overall interest in your business. So in a lot of cases, investing in these tools, or even like I said, if you want to start off with a free membership, there's still lots of resources that you can get out there to get some of the basic stuff. And I'll talk a little bit about what that looks like in a minute as well too. So we have next is the stock videos, right? So stock videos, I have a few things here, and it's interesting. So this screenshot, and I didn't want to pull a bunch of stuff up today. I wanted to kind of respect our time because I have lots of different examples, but I decided to just go with screenshots, to save us some time. But this screenshot that I have up on here is a video that we created. It's actually one of our first AI generated commercials for DBN, and literally, I went into the software for one of the website, and I'll give you guys one of these resources as well here that you can use. But I typed in the AI generator was, give me an example for a script on dreaming and driving. And so it gave me some different prompts. And then what we did was we went in and we basically tweaked some of the information, the concept, but it gave us the videos that went along with it. And it gave us some of the ideas, initial kind of framework ideas. And then we added in our own music and kind of completely just transformed it. But it's amazing because coming back to it, if you look at this, and you guys, when you go to our website, I'll share that with you guys at the end of the presentation. But if you go to our media section, you can check out this commercial. And this is something that would have literally costed thousands of dollars to make, right? To do it in real time. And for companies, it's like, that's the part of the ROI that you're getting. You could be literally saving thousands of dollars, and you can still get in professional images and create different types of concepts. And this one actually came out really well. But so videos, stock videos are great for, like I said, creating short form content, commercials, having a polished kind of studio look. And you can use videos also to fill in with templates as well too. So stock videos are definitely something that you want to kind of hone in on.
Now, do you help your people that you work with? So let's say that they know they want to have a video, but they can't come up with a concept. So I remember a couple of years ago with our conference, we moved it from the fall to late winter because we had the fall, for years. We had our conference there, and all of a sudden these other groups were crowding around us. And I did ask them, I said, hey, can you give us some space? And they didn't want to do that. And so I'm like, fine, then I'll move mine. So the video was all about Don't Stand So Close to Me, that song. And I had people on elevators getting squished, or that big train in Bangladesh with thousands of people and they're hanging off the side of it. And you need to have some space. And then it showed Julie Andrews on the mountain with all the space around. So I could see it in my head. So it was kind of humorous, but I think for people that they don't know where to start, they want a video, maybe they have an idea, but how do you put it together? And I'm going to say this too with AI. Mm-hmm. I thought in the very beginning, when people were oh yeah, you can use AI and tell it to create something, I thought it built it from scratch. It was create a picture of a puppy or whatever it is, and it would draw it. And it doesn't really do that. What it does is it pulls from the content that's out there. Although yes, for our conference, the lettering, I was able to say, I want block lettering, I want these colors, I want the sparkle. And it took me, you guys, it was I don't even tell you how much time I used up trying to get those correct. And again, so time is money. And just because you're capable of doing it doesn't mean that, it's the best use of your time.
Absolutely. Again, and coming back to it, and that's the beauty. Even it's changed the landscape for companies like mine, where to your point, we can literally take concepts for clients that are out of state or wherever you're at and give you the types of, frameworks that you want. And you're not having to do stuff on location. And you can, like you said, even with AI, I think it's amazing because you can pull whatever's out there and tie it into exactly what you want. So like even for us, we've been doing some short promos that we've been putting out on LinkedIn. You know, we'll take like audio, obviously Dream Big Network. We want to tie in our messaging to you know, the value of dreaming, right? And so I'm like big on motivational speakers. And so, you know, we pulled people in like a motivational speaker like Les Brown and just took the audio. And then we go back and we'll find the video clips, right? Different video that ties into some of what we're you know, the messaging is talking about. And now you have your own customized content piece, you know. So whether it's a musical or, you know, whatever, like there's so many different things that you can play with this. And to your point, even for these videos, and I'll share this when we talk about, you know, just some of the resources that are out there. You can start on some of these platforms and still create decent videos, even on their free accounts. Now, some of them might have like the water logos on them and stuff like that. But if you upgrade, obviously you can, you know, then get all of that removed and make sure that it's all completely customized. So, you know, I recommend people look into it. It's actually the other thing to your point too. It's sometimes it can be time consuming for clients, you know, especially as you learn it. But I think that there's also a simplicity in terms of like what these tools have done for small business owners to the degree that it's literally sometimes as easy as you're just taking the content, you're searching it in the tool in the toolbars, and then you're just dragging it over and putting it into the loading file, right? For the video editor. So, you know, it's like what
you make it sound so easy, but you know, I was sharing with you privately before we started that a lot of stagers, you know, they're creative. They're not necessarily, did I lose you? We're not, when he says just drag this thing and drop it in here, people would be like, you know, what do? I don't understand. So somebody who has the expertise and understanding of how to do something like that, again, it's worth paying for somebody to either teach you how simply or to do that for you. So let's see if he's going to come. There you are.
Jenny, are you there? Hello?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yep. Can you hear me?
All right.
Good.
Sorry, I'm back.
Okay, good. All of a sudden, I was saying he was gone. So what I was saying is that that stagers, and I'll edit this out so that the dead content. But what I was saying is that stagers are not technical; they're creative. And so when you say, "Oh, just drag this thing over and then put it in the file to upload," they'll be like, "What did he just say?" And and I understand what you're saying because I you know, I feel like I'm fairly tech savvy, but a lot of people are not, and that's even more reason you want the content. And it's not that nobody's saying that anybody's like ignorant or nobody's saying anybody's dumb or stupid. It's just, you know, some people's minds work differently, and you want the content rather than frustrate yourself trying to create everything. You know, hire and work with a team that can get it done for you.
You know what? I'm back. So, you were saying, but yeah, to your point, it's very time consuming, you know, and it just becomes a challenge for a lot of people. Yes,
it can be frustrating. And I will admit I'm an impulse buyer. When I see something, I'm like, okay, I think I can do this and I'll figure it out. And then I buy into these subscriptions and I start getting into it. They always make it look like it's super easy to do. And it definitely is not. Like there was a whole AI thing about you can create, you know, courses and content and things like that. I thought, well, that, you know, I would love to learn how to do that or be able to apply that. And it definitely is not as easy as they make it seem. And I know it's one of those things where I don't have the time to sit there and try to figure it all out, you know, so.
It is work. I mean, I can't lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you on that. I mean, you're telling the truth. It does take work. And it just depends on the business owner, right? Because if some business owners, and I think it's a passion thing too. Some business owners are very, and maybe some of the people in your community are very interested. Some want to put together their own content. So they're willing to invest that time. There is going to be a little bit of a learning curve. But once you do start to learn it, it is worthwhile because you can produce it. And you can do it at a very high level. But also, I think to your degree, for companies like myself, the value that we bring for clients that we serve and where we have a lot of our pain points for clients is they're like, look, you know, I don't want to do all this, but I want the content. And it's awesome for us because we can produce higher levels of this for clients at a fraction of the cost. You know, and so that's also the kind of the win is that, like, you know, even if you're looking at this information today and you're saying, hey, you know, I want, you know, to have more of this type of content produced, you know, it's leveling the playing field for companies like myself, where you can have companies like mine that we can produce this type of content for you at a fraction of the cost, and you're going to get a ton of opportunity to just really take your branding to the next level. So I guess we should hit on templates here. Templates, I love templates. Jenny, are you pretty familiar with templates yourself, or?
I'm sure I've used them. Oftentimes I'll find something I'll kind of create more original, but I don't mind, plugging things in if it looks like a cool video or something like that. It's like just put the content in and then voila. The only thing that I would caution people on is if it's a really popular template, and a lot of people we get all these postcards from agents, for example, and it's the exact same postcard from 10 different people, so it's not original. So that's the only thing is you want to make sure that it still feels original, that you don't have bunch of other colleagues in your area or whatever sending the stuff, posting the same content.
Absolutely.
But there's enough different templates out there that shouldn't happen.
Absolutely. And I love templates too. Personally, to your point, that you got to try to find, there's lots of gold out there. The awesome part for a lot of these tools that we're talking about, and these platforms where when you have a membership with them, there's a lot of creators that are creating templates for these particular sites. And so it's awesome because it's creating its own ecosystems where there's tons of different types of templates, and it's literally plug and play, right? And so that's kind of the value points that I've kind of made it. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3 with templates, right? It's already made, right? It's just this kind of obviously video type of piece where you can put in your photos or your video, right? So that's step number 2. You add them in, and then you produce it, and you can put it out on your Instagram or your LinkedIn. I wanted to share an example with your community here. So I kind of took a screenshot. I know it's hard to read here, but it's a screenshot. This is an example of a template that we use. And this was a fun piece that we did. It was like a play on a Google template. So the template itself, it looks like someone is typing in a question into the Google search bar, and you can actually type in whatever you want. So obviously we're trying to play on the fact that we want to be one of the best. And so we kind of over exaggerated a little bit, right? But when you go to the template, it shows on our social media, it's who is the best marketing company in the US? And so that's the question. And then it shows on the next graphic, it goes to the results, and it shows it like someone is Googling that Google result. And then it shows the logo of DBN. And, we actually put some of our AI stock photography in there as well too. And then we add in our own music. So that's the awesome part about like templates is you can customize them, and it's a great creative way for your business owners just to have that additional creative content in a video format as well. And you can put that on your IG or your Facebook pages or your LinkedIn's, or you can even put them up on your websites if you want to. But to Jenny's point, definitely want to make sure that you try to find some unique templates that you don't see a lot of people using. Sorry, go ahead.
And I think, I would say that if you put something like this out, the general public doesn't know that it's a template that you've created. They're actually going to think like, oh, wow, they are the top one. And so you're not, exactly. It's not being deceptive. It's basically being creative. Why not put that out there? Because the buying public, that's what they're going to search as well. So I think that's really clever.
Yep. And we even tied it into our marketing messages for the post. We're like, if you don't believe that you're the best, who else will? Was the kind of the question. And so it kind of had a fun play on it. But that's the type of stuff. It's, have fun with these things, right? If you're going to do it. And then, this is the last piece that I wanted to tie in for you guys today, which was AI support for your content, right? I'm actually continuing to learn, and I've become fascinated with AI. And this is one of those hot button topics that everyone has been talking about, AI and, this and that. But for a lot of us, we don't really understand how to use it or what it looks like. I know that ChatGPT has become a big, quote unquote, selling technique and great for businesses for framing like, their verbiage for websites and, whether it's just questions that they want to ask or put, answers they want to put out in, from that informative aspect, putting it out into their social networks. But when we think about it from an actual marketing perspective and what businesses like myself are looking at it for, we're thinking about it for how do we frame videos, right? And stock photos, giving us different types of concepts, right? Like, so you see this photo that's here, this ties into one of the photo concepts that we were AI generating, right? And so this is literally, it's this amazing photo. and it has a realistic appeal. You can still tell it's not quote unquote real, right? But you can tell it's got a really professional kind of element to it. But we generated the circumstance, right? Give us this diverse network of business colleagues in a high rise, and then it just literally auto generated it, right? And so you can do that for your videos, like the short commercial that I was telling everyone about earlier for DBN, which you guys can check out on our website if you want to see that example. But it will give you these prompts. It'll give you a whole layout, and it will also add in the video content for it. And some of it you may not like. And that's where I always kind of go back to the awesome part about what the AI is here for, because some people are thinking, well, people who are using AI, you're just lazy, and they're thinking it's just going to take over everything. I actually believe that it's here to be kind of an assistant to you. So you shouldn't be leveraging it just for from the standpoint of saying, just create this particular, like our videos or the concepts we create, we still have to tweak. And even if it's a writing prompt, right? So it'll give you prompts for commercials, and then just even generating like content scripts. You can also do voiceovers with AI as well, if you don't want to do it yourself. And so when you're using these platforms, it just, once you kind of learn them, it simplifies your overall processes to where you can generate tons of different content within a time frame, and it'll give you content for the next weeks and the next months if you wanted to put that much time in. And then you can tweak it, and you can say, okay, I like this idea, I don't really like what this brought up, and then you can make it your own. And so that's kind of the awesome part about the AI supported aspects for your content and for your marketing and things that you can leverage, right? It's literally as simple as, once you get a free membership with one of these platforms that I'll talk about in the next slide, you can go to their AI service center, and you just type in the type of information that you want, and it'll give you different ideas and concepts. And there's also tutorials for these for businesses if you want to take that time to learn it. But these are the things that marketing companies like mine are leveraging right now for our clients and for our own content. So that's kind of the AI portion. Jenny, did you want to add anything in, or?
I think with the AI, I will say that there's platforms where the voiceovers and the people that talk, they don't sound as robotic as they did in the past. Where it's like, you have your, and they're like, please pick up your, and you can tell it's like a robot. They're much better now. They have different characters, and if you want, you're like, if you have the free version, it's limited to these people, but if you want these other people, you have to pay for it. It's actually pretty cool, to be able to do that. I think there are people that are abusing the Chat GPT. They're writing books or different things and positioning themselves as an expert, and they're really not, because it can create a lot of content. You still have to kind of go through it. And then there's the whole plagiarism aspect, where I don't know where that's all going to go, but that was where a lot of Hollywood people are like, they've written scripts or things, and they're like, if they're pulling in content from things that were copywritten, how do you resolve that? But I think in general, I've written business guides, frameworked out, like steps for leadership academy and so forth. And then I have to go in and kind of tweak it for our industry. But at least it gets it started.
Absolutely.
It is a time saver.
Yeah, you're right. And you should still have an expertise in whatever it is that you're putting together. One thing I was thinking about that you mentioned earlier, kind of how you guys have these categories for training, right? For your content, whether that's like buyer trends, things like that. All these informative topics, these are also these content pieces that, you as professionals, people you could be putting that into the system and then creating different informative aspects on these things. And so, to your point, I think that's important. You do need to have some level of knowledge, I think, for what it is that you're actually putting out there, instead of like for some people, unfortunately, they're just kind of abusing it and putting it out verbatim. I don't really agree with all that, but so then some of the resources that I wanted to share with you guys today, these are some of the tools that we're using. I mean, obviously we're using a ton more, but I just wanted to use some of my favorites, some ones that I think that are pretty, simple in their overall nature to use. And they've got tutorials and it kind of will walk you through the steps on how to use them. CapCut is a very popular one. And it's, to me, honestly, I think it is a great tool. I think there's a reason why it's one of the most popular, because it's a pretty simplistic platform to use. They've got a lot of different
Yeah.
differentiations on
They have
the
they have
tool.
a lot of templates you can
They do.
select. So it's, yeah. And then they
They
have,
do.
although CapCut's music is more limited than Shotcut, I think they've got
It
a better
is.
select music. And but CapCut's very easy. I mean, you can do long videos and do overlays, and
Yep.
do the words that come out. I mean, it's actually a very cool platform.
You're right. Yeah,
And
and I didn't
you
even
can do it
mention
on your
that.
computer. Yeah, you can use it on your computer or your phone. Where I was using one, I still sometimes use a KineMaster or KineMaster with a K. That one you can only do on your phone. But I will say that
Okay.
CapCut is kind of sneaky, because they'll be like, I had a pro account, and then they kept getting me like, you need to sign up for a pro account. I'm like, I thought I did. So I think I paid like 3 times for a pro account, and I
Oh
finally like,
no.
why do you keep asking me to pay for this? You guys should know that I've already paid the money out. So, that kind of thing. Just be really careful. Keep track of
Yeah.
what you've paid for and what emails you're putting it under, et cetera. But it
Yeah.
is, and it is very heavily used by, because it feeds into TikTok, or it can, and social media. You can, reels and stories and so forth. It's actually fairly easy to use.
That's a great point, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely be aware of, if you guys are out there, if you're signing on with someone, make sure that you're, kind of walking through all the steps, and make sure that you know what you're signing on for before you sign up for them. But CapCut, like going back to it, I think it's great because you can start off even, if some of you want to test it, right? For some of the small businesses in your community, if you just want to actually just see, okay, do I even want to do this, right? Sign up for a free account. You can still get some stuff done. You can try some samples out. It gives you stock photos. You can get video editing tools. There's templates on there, like Jenny was mentioning. There are still some elements of AI generation that you can test out. Another one of my favorites for like logo intros. Their logo intros are amazing, in my opinion. But there's also Render Forest is awesome. We're using a lot of that for a lot of our clients right now. I mean, we've also got some other resources we use, but they've got some great templates for businesses, editing tools. They've got that. Also, they've got stock videos and stock photos. And then just some of the ones that I think that are pretty basic for just pulling stuff. If you're just doing a Google search and you want to pull some simplistic stock photos or stock videos, you can actually pull them. And some of them are for free. So you can still get some decent ones for free. And then obviously some of the other ones will charge you as well too. So be aware of that. But Pexels is a great one to use. And then I've got also, I can't see how,
Vecteezy. Yeah.
Yes, Vecteezy is the second one. They've got some pretty good stuff on there as well too. So that's good for stock photos or stock videos if any of your network is looking for those resources.
And I'm not familiar with. I'm looking at those. I'm not familiar with those. The ones I was using was like, I can't remember the name. It's kind of a long name, but they have the videos you can purchase, and the people that create the videos can upload in like these different platforms, and that's how they make money, because they can, if they're free, great. If not, they sell them. That's how these creators make money. Correct me if I'm wrong, but with TikTok, TikTok had templates, and then over time they stopped creating new ones. I'm like, what the heck? These are all old, and it seems like they shifted everything over to CapCut and Shotcut to then can feed into it. So you have a much wider variety of options using those two aspects. And when you talk about marketing, cross-platforming, not all the social media things like each other. And I've learned this from Johnny Fowler's an amazing guy. You have to meet him. So he does a lot with the algorithms, and he understands, when to post and so forth. But he's the one that said, like, if you do a TikTok, uploads into TikTok and it's branded TikTok, you don't want to put that on Facebook, because Facebook will suppress it, because Facebook doesn't like TikTok. And so things like that you need to know. So you need to take the branding off. I always download the original video before I start uploading it to the other platforms that they're going to watermark it. And so, and then you can also edit it and do different things with it. So little nuances to learn, but I'm going to check out Render Forest too, because I was using some other logo intro. I'm tired, so my brain isn't working, but they had some cool ones, like the explosion of the dust colors, and, features. And I mean, you guys don't understand all of this technology. It's so amazing, because before this, you had to do something like Adobe, Photoshop or editor. I remember doing an intro for our conference, and it was like all the speakers and the things moved forward and turned around. And I had to read, I was like step by step, this huge amount of information. And I'm like, okay, I got to go do this. Okay, now I got to drop this in here. And it took a super long time. And it was really cool when it finished, but I couldn't recreate it if you asked me to. I have no idea how I did it. I'm just amazed that it turned out the way that it did. And now there's things you just plug into. That was only like 5 years ago. So
It's
really
game
cool.
changing. Yeah, you're right. I mean, and I mean, just when you look at the actual quality of some of these profiles, right? And when you, like you said, even if it's just your logo, I mean, the fact that you can create this really high level, intro for any type of content piece that you put together, instead of, like you said, it's, you used to have to actually be an actual video editor to be able to do
Right.
all these things, right? It's really taken the simplistic stuff and made everyone, have the ability to be a video editor in your own right, and you don't have to have all the knowledge of like what it was take, like, for your instance, using Adobe, all the having to understand these step by steps to create this particular type of outlook. And now it's like literally just drop and paste and watch the magic happen. So yeah, they're great tools, and I think that
Yeah, it's
every
amazing.
business owner should be utilizing them to polish your branding as well. It's
And
a
I
good
think
point.
for some business owners, especially in our industry that aren't, maybe not as tech savvy, they're afraid to try something, or maybe they're, because they don't want to feel stupid, or they're just like, I don't want to get frustrated. And so that's where there are tutorials out there, but that's where aligning yourself with a company that understands how to do this. Because ultimately what you want is the result that you can then put out there to enhance your brand, get more business and so forth. And so I think that's really important. They are more simple to use, but you still have to know what you're doing.
You do. It
Right.
does. It still requires some learning. It still requires
Yeah.
some effort, and coming back to it. Then, I mean, if you come back and you're like, hey, you try it out, even if you try it out and you at least now what goes into it, it actually still drives you to have more value and appreciation for these tools. And if you want to outsource it, then you just put that into a part of your marketing budget as well too. And you can come to companies like us, or you can find someone locally. Like I don't try to, obviously I want to, we're growing. So we want to bring on as many clients as we possibly can. And we have the ability to work with clients in other states, but I'm also a believer of fit. If you find someone that you think that fits what you want, then by all means go out and find that. Because if you can add these things into your repertoire, so to speak, right, and into your Rolodex, it will take your branding to another level, and it will increase your engagements, it will increase your impressions, and it will increase the interest that people have in what you're doing with your staging businesses.
You use an old school term. It's funny because the Rolodex kids, like the younger
They're
generation,
like,
they don't know what that is. There's a video that's hilarious. It's a mom with a rotary dial phone, and she
oh
puts it in
yeah,
front of these two boys that are teenagers, and she's like, if you can figure out how to utilize this, then they were going to get some reward. And she gave them a pretty significant amount of time, and they sat there. They did not know, they couldn't figure it out. And it's so funny because I grew up using those rotary and then the push button. And man, when you had the wireless thing where you weren't chained to the thing, that was big time, the technology. So, and I feel like, and every year technology is advancing faster and faster with all the resources. And so you do have to stay up on it. You can't use age. Your age is a reason to be like, oh, I'm not going to learn something new or use that in my business, because the buying public is looking for people who are ahead of trend, even that you're cutting edge. They don't want somebody that's like, stuck in the 80s or 90s. They want somebody who's going to be, fresh. And so you may not want to learn all that, but then you can hire and work with people who do understand.
Absolutely. And you can still get these services, like, I mean, even for us, I think that one of the things that drive, our clients to work with us is that they're looking at the value of what they're getting out of it. And it's not costing them, a huge arm and a leg, right? Where they're paying $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year to get some of these resources, what it would normally cost, to incorporate some of these elements, right? Because even when we're talking about video content, you can literally tie in creating higher caliber content with some of the stuff that you might be shooting on your phone, and then putting it into some of these templates. And there's so many different ways to just kind of blend in your branding, and like you said, and just to elevate it is really what the goal is. So you should be using.
Yeah, and visibility is important. It's the number one thing. If you post this, that you're going to get more likes or hits or whatever it is. It's cats. Cats is the number one thing that people will look for. Dogs is number two, and then children. So I literally posted a video of one of our cats. He wanted to get inside, and so he's like running on the glass, but it looks like he's running in the air because the glass was clean. And so he's just doing this thing. I had like 2,000 views on TikTok within like a day, and our videos from our staging work. Look get like 600, 700, sometimes more than that. My mom, when she moved into her place, we did the big reveal of her independent living, and that got 6,000 views on Instagram. It was
Wow.
the #1 video that year. Yeah, and it was because it's a human interest. So we want to have, and I'm sure that you advise on this too, having kind of a mix of, it's business is important, but it's a people business. So they want to know, who am I getting into business with, and you can have some fun and some humor as well. So it's not just all
Absolutely.
boring content. And well, good. I really appreciate you being on. You can see Rocky's information. His phone number is up on the slide, and we'll send this out to members. But it's dreambignet.com is their
That's
dream
it.
network, dreambignet.com, and then rmillerleadership@gmail.com. R Miller is his email. So send this out so you can reach out to him. We definitely want to have more information shared with the members. And so we're just scratching the surface, I know.
And really quick, Jenny, we do have one value point that I'm going to throw out for your community today. So
Sure.
we are going to do a giveaway for anyone. If this is the first business that contacts me personally, we will also put together a free sample video for them as well.
Nice.
So I just wanted to throw that out for your community today, that if they are interested, or, to your point too, if anyone just has any general questions, they can email me or contact me.
And what is the value of, what would that normally cost to put a video together, what you're giving as a complimentary? I don't use the word free because I teach the stagers, like, don't be giving stuff away for free. It's because there's no value in it. But what would people normally pay for that?
It'd be about a $500 video.
Nice.
Yeah.
Take advantage of it, those of you that are watching. So that's great. So I really appreciate having you on. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll have more TECHNOvation series coming up, and hopefully you're enjoying all of them. All of the content is loaded up on the Hive Pro, and we're also pushing it out on social media and via email. Thanks, everybody.